doing better as a result of social media presence.
If it doesn't do those three things, then it's on the chopping block.
It's a return on investment discussion.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Daily Dealer Live. This is your host, I'm your host, Sam Dark. This is the space where automotive comes together to learn, to share, to have a real voice in what's happening across our industry. So if you're a dealer, a vendor, or someone just passionate about this industry, you're in the right place. And let's dive in on this Monday, September 20th. First up today in the news, used vehicle sales cooled in September, pushing inventory to its highest point of the year. This according to Cox Automotive's vAuto Live Market View. And when we zoom in on the numbers, dealers held 2.26 million used vehicles at the start of October. That's up 3% versus September and 10% year over year. Meanwhile, retail used sales fell 5.2% from August, with CPO sales down nearly 20%. Though both remain higher than last year, and the average listing price climbed to, get this, $25,825, continuing steady upward pressure on affordability. Looking ahead, with buyers pulling back and inventories rising, dealers are entering a more cost-sensitive used market, one that rewards discipline and a sharper focus on value heading into the end of the year. Next up today, who is the most recalled OEM in all of automotive at 9.5 million vehicles spanning over 100 campaigns? Well, the answer is Ford. Ford today is recalling more than 625,000 vehicles for seatbelt and backup camera issues that could increase crash risk. This, according to federal regulators. The first recall affects over 330,000 Mustangs from 2015 to 2017, where corrosion can weaken the front seatbelt anchor cables and prevent them from restraining occupants in a crash. And the second recall covers nearly 292,000 Super Duty trucks from 2020 through 2022, where the 360-degree camera system may fail to show proper rear view images in certain lighting conditions. I'd be curious. I'd be interested to know exactly what does it show if it's not the proper image. But nevertheless, big picture, Ford continues to lead all automakers in recall activity. As we mentioned, that's 9.5 million vehicles, over 100 campaigns year to date. For dealers, obviously, it's an opportunity in service for manufacturer reimbursed work that fills bays, but also competes with higher margin customer pay jobs. To find out more about this recall, head over to CDG Recall Tracker, powered by BusyCar at cdgrecalls.com. And finally up today, Stellantis is making a $13 billion push to grow its U.S. footprint, promising a 50% production boost, 5 new models, 19 refreshes, and 5,000 new jobs across plants in Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, and Indiana. And as a dealer group in the Midwest, bring it. Let's go. CEO Antonio Filosa called it the company's biggest investment in a century. The plan includes reopening Belvidere assembly for Jeep Cherokee and Compass, funding a new midsize truck in Toledo, and launching a range-extended SUV in Warren by 2028. Additional funding will go toward Detroit and Kokomo for next-generation Durango and engine programs. Zooming out, Filosa says the strategy puts customers back at the center, strengthens U.S. manufacturing, and aligns with President Trump's push for domestic production. And we can't leave today's news without talking tariffs, so let's do it. The Trump administration is rolling out new tariffs on imported trucks and parts. It's 25% on medium and heavy-duty trucks, 10% on buses, while giving U.S. automakers an extended break on existing duties. The new tariffs kick in November 1st. Imports covered by the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement are exempt, but that doesn't apply to buses. At the same time, President Trump is extending a tariff discount for automakers that build and sell vehicles here in the U.S. through 2030. There's also a new carve-out coming for companies that make engines domestically, though that one won't take effect right away. Together, these moves are meant to encourage more U.S. production, but they show how tricky it is to balance manufacturing incentives with global supply chains. Some truck makers have warned the tariffs could raise vehicle costs and ripple through construction and shipping. Still, automakers like Ford and GM, which had pushed for trade relief, are calling the decision a win for American manufacturing. And that's a wrap on our auto industry news on this Monday, October 20th. What's up, Bewley? Welcome back.
What's up?
Good to
Pumped
have you
to be
back
here.
on the show. Good to be getting back at it. What a weekend it was. I was at Formula One with my son, Nate. Props to Nate if he's listening to the show. He and I were talking through the weekend. He's like, I didn't even know you did a show. I was like, yeah. I'm like, you should listen. He's like, maybe I will. So if he is, props to him. But we had an incredible time there on the track watching all the action. F1 is fun. Like, we do a lot of NASCAR at Ziegler. F1 kind of like does 5 or 6 times up on top of NASCAR. So
Yeah, it's a wild ride. It's definitely an experience. I'm happy you guys got to see it. Who dominated this weekend? I didn't get to watch.
You know what? Team Red Bull. It's amazing. Max had as much as a 10-second lead throughout the entire race.
The beast.
Not the sprint. The sprint worked out a little differently. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Guess who I saw in line to get in? So it was kind of a cool thing. Vinay. So I'm looking around, line to get in. I see all these AT&T badges around me, and I'm like, wait, AT&T, we know Vinay from Nissan. And it was very cool. He and I had an opportunity to just sit and chat for a few seconds.
Oh, that's awesome.
Learn a little bit about what he's doing today. He still had a ton of he still had a ton of questions and expressed, that he's still connected with everybody at Nissan and just has nothing but well wishes and hopes all the best for that group. Sitting, talking to him, he's the real deal. He's a great leader.
Sure.
So, and he's going to crush it
1,000%
at AT&T. So props to Vinay. And actually to our entire audience, obviously, we always say this for those joining our live stream. We're live across all CDG social media platforms. Post your comments. We'll bring them into today's show. And what a show we've got for you today. We're going to actually start out right off the top, diving into some of our Stellantis news, getting a little bit of a dealer behind-the-scenes look into all things Stellantis. And we'll obviously bring your comments into the feed as well. Right now, Yoga Car says, curious if Ford will lead with trade-ins. Will all this recall traffic hitting dealerships? Good question. So keep those comments coming, and we'll bring them in to today's show. But Yuli, if you're ready, let's dive into it.
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. So starting out today, managing partner of Cape Coral, CDJR, Josh Clinton. Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Dude, you've got all the equipment. By the way, first of all, it's not easy to be in front of a glass like that and not get crazy backlit. So you got the setup. I like it. Palm trees and all.
Yeah, we might get a customer or two walking by, but we should be all right.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's the deal. And it's not a fake background, right? I see the palm trees blowing in the wind. So you're where everyone in automotive wishes they were, in a sunny climate right now, right?
Beautiful Southwest Florida. I'll tell you what, I love it here. It's absolutely gorgeous today. And it's that time of year where the Midwesterners, where you're from, start heading down here. So hopefully we start to see business pick up a little bit.
Yes, they do. Everybody from the Midwest likes to go where it's warm in the wintertime. So, all right, let's start off the top with our question we ask every guest. How's biz? And alongside with that, just tell us a little bit about yourself and the dealership you work with.
Business is good. I can't complain, and I'm just excited to see everything that's happening with Stellantis come to fruition. I wish it would happen today, but we're excited for what's coming. And I'm here in Cape Coral in Southwest Florida with Atlantic Coast Automotive. Been with the group for about 6 years now, and super excited to be able to contribute to the show here today.
So what does managing partner mean before we dive into our topic today?
Minority owner and general manager.
Okay, very cool. And how long have you had ownership in the deal?
I was with a previous store within the group for 5 years before last year. And, then I made the switch over here. I would like to say probably from the minors to the big leagues, if you will.
Yeah.
So, got an opportunity to run a bigger store, and now we're here.
So is ownership a traditional model for that auto group, or is that an exception?
It's a case by case basis. Some stores do, some stores do not. But Mr. Med's a fantastic owner, and we really appreciate what he does for us. So,
So
Awesome.
as we dive into this conversation about Stellantis, what in your journey made you say, "Hey, I want equity ownership. I want to be in this leadership role at a Stellantis store in
Everything,
2025."
everything.
Okay.
I mean, that was the goal from day one. Set goals for myself from when I was 19 years old, and just kind of stepping stone one to the next to the next. I was with a fantastic family group, Gunther Motor Company in Southeast Florida for 10 years, and worked my way up there. And that was one thing that I didn't have an opportunity to get with them. And so when Mr. Ahmed gave me a call, I had to take that call. He's a very, very smart man, and thankfully I was able to partner with him, and been here ever since, and haven't regretted one day of it.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so let's talk Stellantis. Like, there are some people critical, some people positive. Uh, all have talked about, kind of the turnaround in progress. And you reached out to us and you said, look, there needs to be greater transparency around this. I want to talk about this. What's your opinion? What are the biggest positives that you see about what Stellantis is doing today? And what are some of the biggest challenges? Let's
Well,
start with positives.
what's negative, right? I mean, there was nowhere to go but up. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll tell you, the last 2 years has been difficult, especially from where we were during COVID. I think we were kind of one of the champions of COVID, if you will. And we saw some really phenomenal years. We were one of the, OEMs that had, production flowing, and they were able to pivot really well when production would, have hiccups due to product, issues. And, they did a great job maintaining supply. So we were able to make a lot of money, to be fair, during the pandemic. And we came out of that pretty abruptly, I will say, about 2 years
Yeah.
ago. And the rug was kind of pulled out from under us. So it's been a tough 2 years. But I would say that right now, with the way that the direction is heading, there's nothing but positives. I think Antonio Filosa has a really strong vision for the company, and I think that leadership is very excited. Seeing Tim Kuniskis come back. I mean, what dealer
Yeah.
wasn't excited about that, right? And
Yeah.
what kind of energy
Yeah.
he's brought back to the OEMs. I mean, fantastic. So, there's nothing to be upset about, in my opinion, right now. $13 billion in the US, what's not to like?
Yeah. So how many cars do you sell a month there at your store, new and used combined?
New and used combined, we're usually in the low 200s as of today. And,
Okay.
honestly, the store is set up for probably 300 to 400. And hopefully, when Stellantis's market share gets back to where they expect it to be, where we want it to be, near that 10% mark or north of that, then we'll be back to what we would like to be doing, which would be, 300 plus.
And prior to your buy-in and ownership, were you doing that 300 to 400 units?
The store was at one point during the pandemic, yeah.
Yeah.
They were pretty consistently 300 to 400. And, we're still, as far as Stellantis goes, we were number 7 in the Southeast last month, 27th in the
Nice.
country. So, not doing poorly by any means.
Yeah.
But, the brand itself knows that they have work to do, and they're doing the
Mhm.
work. So,
So are you targeting a unit, a net? What like it in your vision, as a managing partner,
yeah.
where are you skating towards? What do you want?
I think that, like I said, the barometer that I would use would be, I look at local market share, but I also look at MSR as a guiding, kind of a North Star, if you will, to see if we're doing our job. So,
Yeah.
as long as MSR is improving, and we are where we want to be, then we're getting our fair share. That would be the start for me. And as long as we're profitable, to the point that we want to be, and we're getting the return that we're looking to get on, net to sales, then honestly, you're doing everything you can. You're
Yeah.
controlling what you can control. What we can't control is the national market share and the brand market share, but what we can control is our portion of it. So,
Yeah. So if you think about right now, we're sitting in October 2025, over the next 6 months, the next 12 months, what are you working on specifically that other dealers could learn from to get to that net, to get to that, additional 100, 200 units? What's your path to that today?
look at everything and anything. I mean, this is the time, in my opinion, especially if you're a Stellantis dealer, this is the time to look at the things that can improve the business, from the bottom up. Whether it's, something as simple as just reviewing expenses, right? Like,
Yeah.
just go
Mhm.
through the bottom line and see what can you fix, what can you change, what can you control to get your business as tight and efficient as possible right now, because when the market share comes back to where we're expecting it to be and the volume increases, things are they're going to get more chaotic. This is the time when you're not as busy as that to really focus on the little things. So that's what we're doing. We're really just trying to maintain the focus on the things we can control.
So I want to test that a little bit. So you talk about market share, right? So is market share something you control, or is that something that Stellantis controls? And in your
I think
ownership role, are you kind of, this is a soft, are you waiting for the market share, or are you creating it with what
well, I would say we're doing our best in the market that we have. I mean, we're very fortunate that in the location we are, it's a growing market, it's a growing metro. So there are only 3 other competing OEMs that I have in my city, for instance, even though it's a big metro market. So, am I getting the most out of that market share that I can get? I'm second to Kia, and we're on their heels. My friend Joseph Pensabene knows that. So, we're doing our best to attack him.
Nice.
But, we're exceeding Chevrolet. We're, across the street from Nissan store. They're building a Toyota store right behind me, actually. So when they come in, we're actually excited for what they're going to bring to the market, because I think that they're going to bring a lot of buyers right over here, and that we can hopefully, when we have the product by the time they open, to compete with them, we should be able to dip our toe into their customer base. So we'll see how things go.
So you're surrounded. So when you think about the product that you're going to build that market share with, what product that Stellantis has today excites you most? What are you looking forward to most?
What's next would be the Cherokee. I mean, that is, I think every Stellantis dealer is starving for a midsize SUV that can be competitive in the market. I mean, it's the largest segment in the country, and we don't play in it. So, that is, I think, the major player that we've been missing from our lineup that is going to change things for the brand. From there, the talk of a mid-sized truck is going to be really nice. Being across from a Toyota store, it's going to be nice to have something to compete with a Tacoma, right? Other than a Gladiator, that's price point is in the mid-40s to start. It's tough to compete there, but we've done a great job, doing our best with what we have. I think the manufacturer has done their best to step up and provide us some incentives to be competitive, and we'll see where it goes.
So a lot of dealers right now push back a little bit against Stellantis, right? And infamously, before they made the leadership changes, many did, right? Some were seen as being a little adversarial, negative, right? Others supported the leadership change that ultimately has brought kind of this new era where there is a ton of hope. Where do you think that line is between positive feedback and pushback? Like, where is it good and helpful, and where is it detrimental?
Number one, you have to recognize that the OEM is your partner. That's first and foremost. You have to recognize that you guys are in it together. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't, air your grievances, or you shouldn't be upfront and tell them what the issues are in your business that can help them help you. They have to listen, though. That's the key. I spent 10 years with Kia before Stellantis, and I will tell you, I love Kia. I think they're a phenomenal brand, but sometimes they can be very stubborn. And they had a hard time a lot of the time listening to the feedback from the dealers. And I think Stellantis has done a great job of recognizing what they've done wrong and doing their best to turn things around. Are dealers thrilled with stair steps? No. Right? Are we used to it? Yeah. So, can we work with it? Can we work around it? Can we try and get our best out of it? That's the goal. So, we just have to be responsible, as dealers to not make bad decisions to chase a number, and the manufacturer has to, recognize that they can't put dealers in that position either, to be irresponsible.
So you've got Stellantis's ear, you're chasing market share, you've got a big goal to increase not only your net, but units that you're pumping into the marketplace. What are your top 3 biggest asks of Stellantis here in October of 2025?
Oh gosh. I guess, first would be to reconsider the stair step volume as the basis to dealer income. I mean, it is just, I'll give you an example to look at previous months and this month, even to get to my numbers. I'm running 145% MSR right now, and to get to my numbers that they've put out there for me to chase, I would have to be 200 plus. And I don't feel that that's a fair ask, right? And so, it's pretty. I feel like we're doing what we can to achieve the numbers that they want and that we want, and to dangle a carrot that further in front of us is just, it's just not realistic, and I'm a guy that, I want to chase every number. I want to be number one. Don't get me wrong, but it also
Yeah.
has to be within reason. So, there has to be a reconsideration of the way that we are incentivizing the dealers. That would
But
be number one.
yeah. Yep. But Josh, they promised never to do stair step again. They
Yeah.
promised to never race to the volume. What happened? Why have we gone down this road again?
That's a great question. Sam, I wish I knew the answer. If I did, I wouldn't have posed it here. But that would be what I would say to leadership right off the bat is just,
Okay. So
reconsider the direction on that
stair
front.
step one. What's step two?
Step two, honestly, big picture, I would say, R&D. I think Stellantis is a company that, we make really cool products. It's one thing that nobody can take away from us. We make the coolest cars in the world.
Yeah.
But we don't do a great job of keeping them fresh. I mean, you got a Durango that's going on 9 years of the same damn platform, and
Yeah.
that's just an example. And we're not even we're 2-3 years away from getting the refresh, so or the remodel. So R&D is something that would I think keep this brand more competitive more consistently if they focused more on getting us the products refreshed in a timely manner.
All right, you're bringing this up. I got to bring up. We reported here on CDG News recently that Jeep came out with a patent on something that would create like some sort of recharging electricity. It's like some sort of a wind turbine. that would sit on top of a
The
Jeep.
windmills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it would like recharge batteries somehow. Like, what do you make of that? Right? There was such a hard pivot to EVs and electricity. Now, kind of a pivot back. Like,
Yeah,
are you
I don't think
excited
anything
for
of
that
it.
type of tech? Okay.
No,
Okay.
I don't think anybody is. I mean, listen, the market has spoken.
Yeah.
It's just not. I mean,
Need supercharged V8s.
yeah, we can't even adopt EVs right now. We're talking about turbines. Like, come on. That's not the R&D I'm talking about. Maybe 50 years from now we can have that conversation. But today I'm talking about making cool products, keeping them fresh, and
Yep.
leaning into what we do best. And I think they're doing that. I think Tim Kuniska's coming back and being a part of that conversation is heading in the right direction. But having a product out there for a decade without any real change is not going to keep you competitive. And in fact, it's going to eventually just kill a product. And that's what's happened.
Yeah.
It happened a little bit to Infinity as well, right? One product down, not enough refreshes for that product. So what's your third item? And then I want to come back to product pricing with a comment from online. Third item.
Third item. Reliability. I think we're seeing it with Ford. I think we see it with Stellantis, maybe a little bit quieter, but quality control at the OEM level with delivering vehicles to us that are free of defects, free of issues, not having to be in a defensive position from the time of sale. I think we see that a bit too often, and maybe I'm being too candid right now, but that's just the truth of the matter. We've seen it time and time again, year after year. I think they've done their best to make changes to improve that over the last 5-6 years that I've been with Stellantis, but it still continues to be problematic. And as these cars get more and more complex, this isn't just a Stellantis issue; it's an everybody issue. We're seeing that there is a tendency to be more issues within the 90-day period of a purchase, but it's not just perception. It's a real problem that needs to be addressed.
Yeah. Okay. So Scott Simons has a great question. He says, if Stellantis lowers prices on models like the Wagoneer, what's your plan for handling customers who purchased at significantly higher prices just months or even a year ago?
Apologize. I mean, and they have. Listen, they just did lower pricing on the 2026 Grand Wagoneer because they've killed the Wagoneer nameplate, right? So that is something that the base price is going to be very similar, if not the same, but the top end of it is going to be substantially lower. And to be fair, it depends on when those customers bought, at what point they purchased, because there was a time where you could get a Grand Wagoneer $20,000-$30,000 off MSRP just because that car had to go. So it depends on what the actual transaction price of the car was for the customer, but there's not much we can do.
to Scott, I'd almost say too, like it's free market, it's market supply, right? You are going to end up having to explain it more at trade-in probably than point of purchase, but you know, it's supply demand. Price is up,
Yeah,
price is down. So
and I would say in defense of Stellantis, you know, the challenges in the market today, I think, are greater than ever for an OEM, right?
yeah,
And so,
yeah.
you know, they at least understand that there's a pivot that needs to that needs to be made, and they're doing it. But you know, it is what it is. They can't change the past.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Ar-
we've come there, we've gone, we've moved on. You know, it is what it is.
All right. So before we get into used cars, which I think would be great, what is a cool product that you want to see? Like, you're saying let's refresh the product. What are you asking for? What do you want?
Well, obviously, everybody wants the Hemi and the new Charger, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they said at first we can't get it to fit, and they've alluded to the fact that maybe they can. So I think we'd all love to see a supercharged V8 in that badass car. Listen, you know, I also hope they don't kill the EV version. I drive an EV Charger myself. That's
You
what I
do?
have. Yep,
Interesting.
love the
Okay.
car. Love the car. I can tell you without question, it's the most fun I've had driving a car.
So
Wow.
Josh, what's your take on EV demand post rebates and incentives, federal rebates and incentives? Many
We're gonna
thought
see.
there's a cliff. You think is it a cliff or does it sustain?
I think it's going to be a cliff initially because obviously we pull forward a lot of demand. So I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a cliff for the next 3 to 6 months. I think you'll see it level out middle of the next year probably, is when you'll start to see the true demand. And you know, the question becomes: are they going to, or OEMs in general, are they going to allow those products to live on long enough to see it, or are they gonna, you know, knee-jerk reaction and kill the car? Like for instance, Nissan just killed, what was it, the Aria?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, so Acura killed the ZDX. So you know,
Honda.
the question
Yeah.
becomes: are they going to allow it to live on just long enough to see whether or not it's going to have any demand, or are they just going to, you know, cut it off and move on? So
Yeah.
you know, we'll see.
All right. Before we go into used cars, because we would like to learn a little bit as you chase that net and you chase that unit count. I'd love to understand what you're doing in the used car world. But
Mhm.
operationally, you've given Stellantis your asks, and you've talked a little bit about product and development. What are they doing really well today that they need to double down on from the
Um,
factory side?
I will tell you, they're listening. They're listening. Number one, you know, they've heard the concerns time and time again over the last 2 years. They've heard it from us. They've heard it from the media. They've heard it from the consumers. So they're listening, and it seems like it's going to pay off. That's why I kind of led with, you know, telling you, you know, we're super excited about the direction. We just wish it would happen now.
Mm. Yeah.
That's the frustration because it's been a few years now of us just kind of grinding through these issues, and you know, we see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think you guys, I mean, you guys talk about it with your M&A activity. I mean, there are a lot of dealers bullish on Stellantis because
Yeah.
they see the light at the end of the tunnel,
Mhm.
and rightfully so. I think we all do, but we just want it to happen right now, and that's just not the reality of what's going on. So we're gonna wait. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna, you know, hope it
Well,
comes sooner rather than later.
don't
But
don't give them an out. What is preventing now? Why not
Yeah.
now?
can they deliver the Cherokee right now? You know, can they deliver the Hemi Charger right now? I mean, those are things that just aren't happening at this exact moment, right? And
Yeah.
you know, we want to see. We're dealers. We want to see it now. We want it right this second, and that's just
Yeah.
not the reality that they live in. And we have to be understanding of that. So, you know, we're being patient. Like I said, we got to do what we can do. We got to control what we can control to get the outcome we're looking for. But
What's your strategy in used cars to hit your unit count and your net? Right? Are you
sell
are
them,
you making up
sell as
for it?
many as you can.
All right. Acquisition. Where are you going for them? That's something we talk about often. Where do you in Florida in October of 2025 go for the best used car in the marketplace?
Well, you got to go to the service drive, especially in a retirement market like this. You know, you get some really nice Florida used cars out of your service drive, low mileage. You know, customers that have the money and the means to get a new car every 2, 3, 4 years, and so
Yeah.
you want to live on that customer base. You know, besides that, we generally live pretty organically off of the trade-ins that we get in the vehicles that we purchase off the drive. We rarely have to go to the auction or to enterprise to you know, get what we're looking for, but not that we don't. We do when we have the holes to fill, and you know, the key on those obviously is to turn them as quickly as humanly possible. But there's no reinventing the wheel here.
What's your process on the service drive?
We use Auto Alert. Auto Alert is a phenomenal tool. I've been a big fan of their system for years and years and years. Watch the service drive, pay attention, use strategic, vision to actually find cars that match what your needs are, and customers that have the means and the opportunity to trade out of them. I'm not a fan of just blindly going out into the service drive, shaking hands and kissing babies with everybody. No, tactfully go to the people that have the ability to trade out today. And that's obviously what a system like Auto Alert or any equity mining tool will do for you. Go to them prepared, go to them with a plan, go to them with, hey, I know you have this vehicle and I know I have this vehicle. Hey, is there a match here? And go with a plan, not just to say hello. Just go with an actionable plan to engage that customer, because they're not coming in here looking to buy a car. I'm coming in here looking to buy their car. So I have to come to them with something that is enticing.
So, Josh, we're in the last minute or so of the conversation. We'd love to have you back at some point, but there are people watching all over the country that want to understand Florida a little bit better, right? Dealers run there. Many, you mentioned, many Michigan, Illinois-based, Ohio-based dealers have homes there, and then they buy a store or two there. What's something that most dealers don't know about Florida that might surprise them? And then what's your fixed absorption for a twofer there?
So Florida is a very, very politically friendly state for dealers, right? I've said before, maybe the wrong wording, but it's the wild, wild west of sorts when it comes to car dealerships. There's not nearly as much regulation as there are in a lot of other states. There's a lot less red tape. They kind of allow us the freedom to do business the way we need to do it. And, we don't do it irresponsibly, but we are able to, do what we want to do in a way that it makes sense and is responsible. So, it's a great, very friendly state to dealers. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons, other than being a very big, metro area as far as Southwest, Southeast Florida. But obviously those are helpful parts. There's a lot of people that want to be here, but.
So you've got the snowbirds, right? So you've got population fluxes based on seasonality. That goes to Dan C's question. So Dan C had two questions. I got the last part of it, which is, what's your service absorption given the snowbird, the cyclical piece?
Last month, 58%, 58.5. Big store, a lot of overhead in a big facility like this. We've only been open for 6 years. So, I'm honestly, we're getting towards the numbers that we want to be at, but we're getting closer. It wasn't quite that high before. So we're inching our way up.
Yeah. And then Dan, I think, was following our F&I conversation last week. We had a roundtable. We talked about, hey, what different F&I models work really well? What does F&I PVR ballpark look like at your store? And how does F&I play a role in overall profitability at this Stellantis location you're at?
It is probably the driver, right? We are generally $2,800 to $3,200 per car, new and used. So that is the key to what we do here. I think that we do see a lot of loyal customers, especially being a Midwest area. That's our seasonal businesses from that market. I think there's a lot of loyalty to the big three that come down into this market. And so they want to be protected when they buy their car. It's as simple as that. So, we do a really good job, I think, of protecting our customers and helping them with that. We do get a little bit of a benefit from that, of course, but at the end of the day, it's going to help us. It's going to help them. And they know that our cars are maybe not quite as reliable as the Toyota that they can get across the street, but they're loyal to the brand. So
we talked about that a lot on the F&I roundtable last week. It's, technology can advocate for a vehicle service contract. A human can. And it just seems right now the AI tech just doesn't quite do it quite like the human does. And VSC, single most important product, given rising cost of repair, rising cost of labor, and then the complexity of the vehicles. To your point, the Wagoneer is one.
Yeah,
but others in the lineup, right?
I think the last 2 or 3 years, consumers have seen the price of labor and the price of parts. They've opened their eyes to what is actually going on, and they're responding in the finance office. Whereas but maybe pre-COVID it wasn't quite to this level. I think they're seeing the value now more than ever. So I think it's actually come to fruition now.
Joshua Clinton, managing partner of Cape Coral CDJR, with a stunningly beautiful background behind you, and customers too, by the way. So there's definitely activity on this Monday, October 20th. We appreciate you being on the show. Thanks for being here to share your perspectives.
Thank you, gentlemen. See you again.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks. That's a fun conversation. I want a background like that, but a real one. Like
A
it's
real one,
warm
yeah, just be in
outside, the
Florida.
palm trees are going. Yeah. And what a great, real, vulnerable, transparent conversation about Stellantis. You know, I wanted to ask what his goal was on fixed absorption. We can get that on the next one, but you know, definitely has his eye on the ball.
Yeah, you got to control the controllables.
Yeah.
Make the best with what you got.
Yeah. Although you do, yeah. Although you've got to put, you know, I think you got to hustle on the market pen a little bit as well. So I think that's one of the big goals of many Stellantis dealers right now, is how do we sell as many used cars as we can, and then to your point, it's playing the game on the new as well. So, all right, let's talk Mastermind. So top performing dealerships use Mastermind to drive loyalty, efficiency, and results, because they don't just automate, they activate. Learn more and take their sales efficiency quiz at drive.automotivemastermind.com/CDG. And for everybody watching the live show today, or with a video picture of the QR code, scan the QR code for more information on Mastermind, Automotive Mastermind. Again, automotivemastermind.com. drive.automotivemastermind.com/CDG. And to Automotive Mastermind, thanks for supporting the content today, including that fascinating conversation with Josh Clinton, managing partner of Cape Coral CDJR. But it's not over yet, Yuli. We're not done. We've got one more great guest.
Right.
We go from tropical sunny Florida a little bit closer to home here in Michigan. We turn to Jackson, Michigan. Sales Director, Art Moehn, Chevrolet, Honda, Charlie Spradlin. Charlie, did I butcher your last name? I hope I didn't. Spradlin?
Yeah, it was as good of an effort as anybody gives, you know. So Spradlin is the name, but yeah, it was good.
Oh no, I did. Okay, I got it the second go. So
Nailed it.
Very good.
Charlie, welcome. We got to ask you the signature question. How's biz? And while you're answering that, give us a little background, who you are, what you do, and you know where you're at.
Yeah, thanks, man. Business is good. It's been a good year. I think October is slower, probably slower than we've seen all year long. But optimistic that we still got 11 business days left and plenty of time to make a month. So, yeah, man. I've been with this group. Yeah, all the time in the world. That's a huge turnaround time.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I've been with this group for almost 11 years. I started selling here out of college, worked my way up a little bit through sales management, then to GSM, and now sales director for our stores. And it's been good, man. It's a wonderful group to be a part of. I'm very blessed.
Awesome. Well, you know better than anyone else that, you know, used cars are where the focus needs to be. So what are you seeing as a sales director for your group there? Where do you believe used cars need to go, or where do you think the focus should be on the used cars now?
I mean, I think that our entire mentality around used cars has changed in my stores. It needs to continue to change in the industry, and it needs to go to acquisition, which isn't a new conversation. I don't feel like in the last few years, but it needs to go to affordability, and it needs to go to acquisition. You need to stock as many cars as you can for the area economically that you're in. You know, I know every part of the country is a little bit different. And some places can afford different amounts, but for us, that's been in that low 20,000 range, black, white, silver. I get a lot of information and a lot of insight from my buddy Glenn Lundy. And he's been really fantastic in helping me shape the way that I view used cars. We've always done well with them. We've really continued to grow that side of our business as we've struggled to really ramp up volume in new cars. We just tend to be pretty steady these days with inventory the way it's at and incentives the way that they are. So used cars is where we can make our money, and you can really build a whole ecosystem off of them at the dealership, which is what we've done.
Outline that for us. So you say acquisition, and I'm sure Sam agrees with you and with me that that's where it's at. What are you doing differently, and you know who's steering that ship?
I mean, the passion really comes from me. It's where I just have found my calling, I guess would be, you know, so to speak. I love to find the newest tool. I love to find the newest people that are going to help me reach that goal.
What's the newest tool?
For us, it's been Sky Vision in the service drive. We
Okay.
use it alongside Mastermind, and it's been a game changer for us. It's really taken the prejudice away from talking to service customers, and so it's helped us. It's helped us get more reps and therefore get more quantity, get more gross.
So Sky Vision,
really,
I'm not familiar with them personally. I haven't used them in the past, but that's helping you mine the service drive.
yeah, it's not super complicated. It sends we have a set parameter. It sends a text message to every customer that falls within this range. When they bought the car, make and model. Of course, you can customize that to what you want, and it hits every single one every single time. And what that's done is taken away the what if factor. I loved the guy who was just on. I know they use Mastermind. I love Mastermind, but I think that sometimes we decide for a customer when it's a good time to upgrade, when it makes the most sense. And we can't do that. We can't decide for a customer. We can't.
So you're hitting everyone every single time, regardless of where they're at.
Correct. As long as the car is within certain parameters,
Yeah.
But
What's your process in-house? Do you have someone doing that personally, or is it strictly text? Do you have someone meeting them in the drive? Like, what's that look like?
yeah, so I've done both. We found the most success by having one dedicated person. She went from my sales floor as a salesperson. She's been fantastic. She's a mom, so the service lane hours worked really well with setting that up. And she's got a friendly face. Text message comes out. It's from her. This is the offer. It's a Carfax fair value. It tends to generate a conversation, whether it's good or bad. People tend to respond. And then she's able to take it from there. And I have a manager who kind of specializes in it. He watches the conversations, make sure that they're being responded to. And then I have a used car guy who helps with acquisition, and his main focus is the service drive. So
how long have you been doing this process? And while you're answering that, maybe you could give us, where'd you start and where are you at today? Like, how much have you grown this process?
yeah, I mean, we're getting to a place where it's between 20 and 30 cars a month, which isn't
Okay.
and that's over and above what we did before. We have a good repeat referral business. There's a lot of customers that come out of the service drive, go right to their salesperson, and start having a conversation with them when it's time. So I don't know that we did the best job tracking that really for a long time, because we just didn't focus on it. It was awkward. People didn't want to have a conversation in the lounge. They didn't want to text somebody who wasn't in the market. And so while we generated a decent amount of business just through that repeat referral avenue, Sky Vision has increased that now where I can see 20 to 30 additional sales out of the service drive a month. And,
That's great.
So I wish that I had a better pre data on that, but we just didn't do a good enough job tracking it. Now we care about it. So of course now we watch
Sure.
it, but
How many used cars are you doing a month on campus, or maybe just in one rooftop?
yeah. So for the one Jackson store, we just treat it as one used inventory, and we average about 175. So that will
That's
pop
great.
up to 180, maybe on a slower month, it'll pop
Yeah.
down to 160, so, but we've been really, really steady in used cars all year long, which has been fantastic. It's the one part of our business that feels, it's good. We're able to continue to slowly grow it, and it's been a lot of fun.
So you're retailing 170, 180 organically. Yep. You're acquiring out of the service drive, let's say 20, 30. Where else are you getting your vehicles?
Yeah, we hit the private party pretty hard on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
I have one guy now who's dedicated solely to that, and then I have two buyers at the auction that help supplement around 30 cars a month each. So,
you got my ears
hitting it
pricking
from
on
every
Facebook
side.
Marketplace. How many are you buying there?
About a dozen. About a dozen. We use VinQ.
Okay.
It's got a built-in buying center inside of it. It's free of charge for anybody who is on VinQ right now to go and check it out. And it funnels all those conversations into one. There's a bunch of products out there that do it. It works seamlessly with our inventory management system. So that's the route we go. And I have one guy who does that.
Very nice. And how do you keep your inventory flowing if your acquisition channels tighten up?
I mean, we're hitting it from so many angles. We haven't had a huge issue keeping flow. Our inventory levels have been very stable. But that being said, our turn is strong. So we're turning anywhere between 12 to 14 times a year. And we're just right in that affordability bucket. My cars don't sit. If you price them right, if you have the right cars, they will come. If you try to supplement yourself with cars that people don't want to buy because they're easy to get, you're going to have an aging issue. You're going to have a market day supply issue. But my buyers have the service lane isn't quite the same because I want every car to the service lane that I can.
Yeah.
But my buyers have very strict parameters that they set between, and we do not deviate. So that's just allowed us to maintain a good flow.
What are they?
18 to 25,000, black, white, silver, or some variation of those colors. So you will not buy an orange car. You will not buy a baby blue car.
Gotcha.
We will do like some higher end trucks, but when I mean higher end, it's like I'll do a 3/4 ton. We'll do 1 tons, but they need to be affordable packages. I'm not buying LTZs. I'm not buying high trim levels. Those kinds of things are for the birds as far as I'm concerned. I want affordable cars always.
How are you making that decision? Like no orange, right? You're saying, hey, no orange. Is that data driven? Is it gut?
It's a little bit of both. So, Glenn's really instilled that in me. And so, it's
by the way, props to Glenn Lundy for guerrilla marketing at its absolute finest. He has stocked our lineup the past couple of weeks with people that come in and are big advocates of his. And by the way, I like his thinking. I like the way he approaches it. But we need to get you on our used car panel. So next week we're going to do a panel of used car directors and managers. And the question is this: what's the best way to buy in today's marketplace? Is it data or is it gut? Right? Who's going to win that battle? And then what's the best way to price? Is it data or is it gut? What would you say?
I think when I go based off of color, it's more based off of visual representation. I mean, if I'm driving down the road, the vast majority of cars that I see are black, white, silver, or some variation of that color.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see a red, you'll see a blue, you'll see a baby blue, or you'll see them. But it's not the majority of them. Even the manufacturer, you have to pay extra. You see less for these specialty colors. We sell more black, white, silver, gray, some variation of that than
in
any
Michigan.
other color.
But if we go to Florida, if we go to Josh's store, he's going to dispute you on that. So that's why we need you on
orange.
That's why we need you on the panel. Hey, I have a question, kind of stepping back a little bit. I feel like we're in the twilight zone here a little bit. We talked to 2 dealers today. We talked to a Chrysler dealer, a Stellantis dealer. And then your Honda, Stellantis is talking about working with the OEM to get better market pen, pumping more new units into the marketplace. You're arguably with one of the best OEMs with Honda. The multiplier a dealer has to pay to buy the Honda franchise is astonishing. And yet you're laser focused on used. And you actually said in our intake form, you said, look, used cars are where the focus needs to be. New cars is kind of the gravy. It's the icing on the cake. What am I missing? You're a Honda dealer.
Yeah, I mean, we are Chevy Honda, so there's an aspect of that, but we're also in Southeast Michigan, I'm dominated by the big 3. They have the biggest presence, and Honda is a fantastic brand. But I'm only going to create that demand over time, because it's just I don't want to be a store that races to the bottom. I don't want to give away a product that I'm very proud of.
Honda doesn't want to either, right? Honda doesn't support stair step, or they're not pumping volumes in. You've got the turn and earn is real at Honda.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and you've got very specific rules in which you can advertise by. They don't want you gutting cars online. Like it's just not the message. They're proud, and I'm proud. I'm also proud of our Chevy brand, and so I think that there's a sweet spot between volume and profit, and I always want to toe that line. I don't want to work harder to make less money. I don't want my team to work harder to make less money. We're going to find that sweet spot. We're going to keep walking that line. But I can tackle used cars like a formula. I know that if I stock this and it looks like this and it's priced like this, I'm going to sell it. And I
by data or by gut. By the way, Yoga Cars says gut is data. So I'll let you. I won't talk over you there.
I think experience is incredibly valuable. And I have one buyer who has been in the business for 30 some years, We just got him on our team recently. We're super excited about it. He's doing fantastic. He buys within the parameters, but he buys based off of gut. He goes and talks to people. He shakes hands at the auctions. He loves the game. And then I have one guy who I actually went to high school with. He does a phenomenal job, and he only buys off of data. These are the cars we sell every day. This is what you need to replace. This is how much money we made. And they buy the exact same amount of cars almost to a T, and their grosses per car are within dollars of each other. I mean, it's
really?
I swear we just did it. We just did it over the summer.
So it's a little bit of the old beer commercial, great taste, less feeling. Right, I suppose. If you're a used car manager and you empower somebody to go with their gut, and this is why we need to have you on this panel, because it'll be a fun conversation, because I think we're going to get a lot of debate. And you empower somebody to go with their gut. Are you careful about who you allow to do that? Not data-driven, gut-driven? And what are the qualifications in your mind at a Honda dealer in Michigan? Buying cars and pricing cars a little bit on gut, avoiding the orange, avoiding certain.
Well, and I don't price cars based off of gut. But Carl, his name's Carl. He's we trust him emphatically. He's a guy that he's been around our stores for a long time. His brother was our used car manager for a really long time. He was a competitor with us for a super long time. And it's there's a level of trust there that I know he's got the dealership at heart. I know he's going to do a good job. And if he does anything at all that he feels like is, hey, I gambled with this, don't be mad. He calls me, we talk through it. I've got his back. He's got mine. And I think for buyers, that's probably the number one thing for me is if I'm trusting you to spend, well, it's not my money, it's my owner's, but I got to protect it. But if I'm trusting you to spend that, if I'm putting you out there, I gotta trust you.
So I'm going to just throw this out here. If you're if you're a used car director for a large platform dealer, you want to get involved in this conversation debate of data versus gut. How do you buy? How do you price? Go fill out the guest submission form on the CDG website. We'd love to have you a part of the show. And it's interesting, Charlie. Scott Simons posted to social. He says, Charlie, what's your average used car recon through the shop? And what's your current days to lot?
Yeah, so my days to lot is slightly skewed because we track transport as well. But we're on the lot.
Is good.
I think you should. So not everybody tracks the same things. But from date of purchase to on the lot, photos, full set, we're 10 days. Which is a little high, but sometimes transport can weigh that down, and parts holds have been skewing our data quite a bit. But
why do you include transport?
Because I spent my money the day I bought the car.
Yeah,
it matters. It's automatically there's expenses associated with it. I think it's crazy to not consider that. So we're all in on that, and we're right now we're sitting in the one location at about 200 to 210 cars. Full. So that's including wholesale, that's including anything that's in the shop and then on the lot. So,
and is there any tech you use in the photo piece others could learn from and or transport to reduce the transport time? If you're tracking that transport, which I agree you've got to, because you're spending money on the interest rate floor plan expense. Anybody that's getting that vehicle to you faster than another.
Yeah, Auto Hauler Exchange is the fastest that I've found. We've played with Central Dispatch for a long time. I was introduced to the company, and at first glance, you might think it's a little bit more expensive, but I would argue that it's not. It gets there substantially faster than any other company that I've used, and there's some accountability there, which I love. I like to know who I'm working with. If I have a problem, it's handled immediately. And they do a great job. The turnaround time with them is fantastic.
Yeah, they've been on the show. Anybody on the photo side?
No, so we flipped to an in-house photo process. We used to outsource it. I didn't always get the consistency that I wanted. Sometimes we would wait a day or two for people to show up because someone was sick or something was wrong. But we now have a full recon facility. Detail, everything happens out of one building. We have photos done at the exact same time. So it's automatically, as soon as the car comes in, we have a set of photos done. And then as soon as it gets through the shop and through detail, we have a set of photos done. And that's cut our time down by like 2 to 3
Is
days.
central recon facility for all three or just for the one location?
No, just the one location. The other location has its own, but also is in-house. But again, it's cut our time down by 2 to 3 days.
Okay. Hey, Charlie, so in October 2025, what's the biggest mistake you see dealers making with used cars today?
I think it's getting scared. I think we hit Q4
Of orange
a lot
cars?
of times. Well, of orange cars. I'm terrified of orange. But I think people get scared in Q4. I know we have in the past. I think a lot of places see the end of the year coming. They see a dip, and I'm certainly not someone to say, "Hey, get loosey-goosey with your processes. Buy too many cars." No, but you need to be prepared to sell a lot of cars. And what I find is that, like, I talk to people and their supply goes like this. It's kind of weird coming off the screen. Sorry. But it goes down towards the end of the year. And then everybody's panic buying, trying to find cars in January and in February. And then they miss the boom, or they pay too much money and they aren't able to gross the way that they should. And so being cautious, but optimistic about the future of the car business, it's always a good time to buy. And I want to be the place that has the inventory for people to buy.
Well, Charlie Spradlin, sales director, Art Moehn, Chevrolet, Honda. Not only am I going to stop by one of these days between Kalamazoo and the Detroit airport, driving by,
please do,
and check it out, say hi. But we appreciate your perspectives and sharing all things used cars. Again, a cool conversation, and surprising to me, the focus given given the OEM multiplier. But I think it's justified. I think you guys you've got some really cool things going there. So we appreciate you being on the show, Charlie. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It was fun.
Thanks, Charlie.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed today a Stellantis and Honda. Although I will tell you, I think it's a great play on the Honda side to you sell as many new cars as you can, you turn and earn as many as you can, and then you deliver elitely with used cars as well. So. Yuli, let's talk about NADA, because we didn't talk about it at the very beginning of the show. So Car Dealership Guy is back with our second annual NADA party. It's happening in Vegas Thursday, February 5th. It's the hottest ticket at NADA 2026 with special guests and top automotive personalities. We can't invite everybody, but if you want to be considered for a formal invite, hit the link in the show notes, request to join, fill out the questionnaire, and the team at CDG will get back to you, and hopefully we'll see everybody there. Also, if you're a dealer and you want to be on this show, again, I go back to, we're going to have a great used car director manager panel next week, just like we had one with finance managers. We've had some really good panels recently. And then the pricing strategy, whether we do traditional or direct, you can go back and listen to that, negotiation free or traditional. That was last week. If you want to be on the show, go to cdgguest.com, fill out the questionnaire. You'll talk to Hannah. You'll talk to Michelle. They'll get your perspectives, and we'll have you on for some great content, great conversations, Yuli. So
love it.
And it's great to have you here with us on this Monday, October 20th. And to you, all of our audience here, thank you for watching the Daily Deal Live, where we break down the biggest moves in the car business as they happen. And thank you, my old Kentucky homeboy. Thanks for your time. By the way, Dan C. said solid show again. Thanks, guys. We appreciate that comment. Couple comments on Auto Hauler Exchange out there. And then I love Yoga Car's gut is data. We'll tear that apart and analyze that next week.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot there.
Don't forget, everybody, we're here live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So if this is your world, hit like, subscribe, turn on those notifications so you never, ever miss a beat. And everybody, we'll see you next week. Thanks for being here.
See you.